So we would totally love to offer you the position. Great! And the pay is $15 an hour. Okay, I mean, it's not a lot, but I guess that's fair. Wonderful! And just so you know, you will also be responsible for covering the cost of everything that you sell, part of the rent and the utilities and the marketing and just a few other business expenses. I'm sure you won't mind. You mean out of my paycheck? Of course! How else are we supposed to pay for all of that? Wait, what? So what does your product actually need to support? That's what we're going to dive into in this video. Now, I know that skit that you watched was somewhat ridiculous, right? And I purposely wanted it to seem ridiculous because I think most of us would not accept that scenario. But at the same time, I think a lot of makers unintentionally price themselves into that same scenario with their business. So that is what we're going to be exploring today, is what does your product actually need to support in your business? And it's not just a single answer, it's layered, but let's dive into it, shall we? So I want to begin with the visible parts of the product that we can actually see. So we can see the product itself, we can see the materials that were used, and we can see that how it was made, whether it was sewn or crocheted or what have you, and we can kind of get a general idea of the type of labor and time that it took to make that product. And my personal observation, what I've been seeing amongst a lot of makers here on YouTube as well as Instagram and just in the general maker sphere, is that those things that we can actually see with the product is kind of where the pricing stops. This is just my opinion, and I just kind of want to preface that with this whole series that this is my opinion, it's my experience. I am speaking from my experience as a person who does have some experience in this field, but at the same time, that said, it's just my opinion and my experience. So before we kind of go underwater and really dive deeper into this, the question that I feel as a maker you need to ask is, what is your business trying to do? And there's no right or wrong answer here. I truly do believe that there is a space for everyone in the marketplace amongst makers and amongst businesses. There's no one right or wrong way to do something. There is space for everyone. But I do think that this is a question that you need to know the answer to. So what is your business trying to do beyond just cover the cost of the actual product? And for some of you, that may be all that that product needs to do. But these are some ways that you can explore it. So is your business just simply a hobby? Is it just meant to bring you joy and it does not need to necessarily create any kind of income? Or is the purpose of your business just to support the cost of your hobby? That is also a route that many makers choose. The sole goal is they love what they make and they simply want to make enough money to keep buying more materials to keep making what they enjoy making. Is the goal of this business to produce some part-time income to support your household? Or is your business trying to generate a full-time income? Or are you trying to grow a business that grows and expands? So different goals equal different things that the product needs to support. Also, one other quick thing, I decided not to dive into different pricing formulas in this video because there are so many other videos that do that really well. So if you're looking specifically for pricing formulas for makers, I'll link some of those down below that I do feel do a really great job. Point being, it can go a lot deeper and further than just the cost that it took and the time that it took to create the product. Several different makers can be selling the same product, but what that product needs to support for that maker can be completely different. All right, so we've looked at the visible things, the part of the product that is up above the water, and these are the things that customers most often see and that we as makers often think about first when we are determining how we are going to price our products. But once we get beneath the surface, there are a lot of other things to consider based on the type of business that you are trying to build. But let's assume, first of all, that this is a business. You're looking at it from a business standpoint. So let's go under the water. So the first level, I'm just going to call, these are kind of like business level things. So at the business level thing, we have a website, which can include writing product listings, taking pictures of product listings, the fees and everything that go into listing, whether or not you have your own website like a Shopify, or if you are listing and selling on Etsy. Then there's also markets. Markets include a lot of layers just in itself. There's all of the display and props that go into displaying your products. There's the tent itself. There are the fees for selling at the market. And then there's your actual time of selling at the market. There's the time of getting to and from the market, setting up and taking everything down. There is photography that goes into listing your products and selling your products. There's packaging if you are listing on Etsy or Shopify that is required for you to package and send the product to the customer. There's also shipping. I know a lot of makers also cover the cost of the shipping. And so these are the things that I think most people recognize exist, right? Most of us recognize and we can see these things even though they're not as visible as the product itself sitting above the water. But these are still things that most people commonly take into account. But a lot of times all of these things at this level still are not connected back to the actual pricing of the product. So let's go one layer deeper, and if the things that I just mentioned right below the surface of the water often don't get connected back to pricing, I would say that these things even less get related directly back to pricing. And at this level we get into taxes and processing fees and income and future inventory and maintenance and maintaining your equipment and contributing to household utilities. And is there enough left over and baked into that pricing that you can buy more inventory, that you can potentially outsource someone else to help with your product? Maybe you don't want to make everything yourself. Is there enough room in the pricing to cover that? And when we start looking underneath and at all of the other things that the pricing of the product needs to support, I really think that the question for us as makers becomes, is our pricing supporting all the things that we want our business to do? Which brings me back to how I started just a few moments ago of what are you asking your business to do, and really being clear on where your business fits in these options. Is it just a hobby? Are you just doing it for enjoyment and it doesn't need to produce any income at all? Is it a hobby, but you're only expecting to earn enough for you to buy more supplies to support your hobby? Is this a part-time thing? Are you looking for this to replace a full-time income? Or are you looking to create a business that maybe eventually grows into wholesale and other types of opportunities? Because I think once we are clear on where our business fits into one of these categories, then we are a lot more confident with the pricing that we have on our products, because we have a really clear understanding of what our products need to support. Because as a maker who is selling our products really are, that's the only way our business is making money, right? Is through selling our products. So all the income that is coming in, that we ourselves rely on, that our business relies on, that our livelihood relies on, is coming through the pricing of our products. I know it's probably obvious for a lot of you, so there may be some of you that are watching this video and saying, yeah, duh, right? But I also know that it's a very emotionally heated conversation, and there's so many different layers that come into it, and there's a lot of pressure applied to makers when it comes to pricing. And I just want to acknowledge the poll that I put up in the community right here. I wanted to know what was your biggest pain point when it comes to pricing, and thank you so much. I got so many responses, and I am going to be diving much deeper into those responses in video 3, which is going to be the final video in this series. But I will say what kind of surprised me most is that a lot of the responses that came back from you guys is that it is the guilt associated with pricing your products. It's what they actually need to be priced in order to support you, which is why I wanted to have this conversation, because I feel like when we are really clear and we have a definite idea and understanding of what our pricing and our products actually need to support, we have a lot more confidence in selling our products for that price, because the pressure to be affordable and to make our products appealing to a broad range of people can be really, really strong. So it's not that I don't understand that at all, and I don't even think it's that you don't understand it. I just really think, at least what I am kind of boiling it down to, is that clarity of understanding of what our products pricing actually needs to support. We are really, as makers, we're left with two main levers that we can pull with our business to increase income. And the first lever is volume, which means we can sell more products, we can increase our production, we can become more efficient, we can find materials that cost less, we can simplify our products so it doesn't cost as much to produce, right? So there are things that we can do that allow us to produce faster, quicker, and sell more. So that is definitely a viable lever that we can pull. Our ability to pull this lever really does revolve around a lot of different things. Some makers choose to build their entire business around volume and focus on lower margins and efficiency and lowering cost and being able to produce a lot, or maybe outsource some things to sell, so that the volume of things that they're selling becomes the way that they adjust that lever. That looks like selling more, higher quantity of products and moving those products more quickly. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that approach. Some makers can successfully pull that lever and do successfully pull that lever, whereas other makers, that lever is not as easy to pull for a lot of different reasons. The most important point here is there's no right or wrong, and there's nothing wrong with a business who chooses not to pull that lever versus a business that does. My whole entire goal with this video is just to bring awareness and to help us as makers evaluate and ask ourselves the important question of what our product's price needs to support, and most importantly, to be intentional with it and to have a clear understanding of what our business is actually able to support based on how we are pricing it, because I think that's where the murkiness and the uncertainty a lot of times can come from. And then the second lever here is pricing. We can increase the amount that each sale of a product contributes to our business. So in that way, we need fewer sales to make the same amount of money. We need fewer sales to bring the same amount of revenue into our business. This can create more room for expenses. It can create more room for growth. It can create more room to outsource in the future and move into wholesale avenues if that is a goal for your business. So the point with this one is that pricing plays a huge part in shaping the kind of business that you're able to support and that you're able to build. And it can determine what your products can realistically support. A lot of businesses need some combination of both, right? Volume and pricing are typically not an all or nothing decision for our business. So some products might end up needing to have that pricing lever pulled, where some other products in our business, we can pull that volume lever. So it is a combination of both depending on the kind of business that your products need to support. And lastly, all of this brings us to another question, which I would say is the final questions. If our products and our pricing shape the kind of business that we are building, why are makers charging drastically different prices for the same product, right? Because we can look at my products, we can look at Etsy, we can look at YouTube, we can go to a market, we can look at all of these things, and we can see that, you know, lots of different makers are charging dramatically different prices for products that are similar or appear very similar. And I think the answer has less to do with the actual product itself than most people realize. It really has more to do with brand positioning and the positioning of their business, positioning of the product. And so that's what we're going to be diving into and exploring in the last and final video of this series. We are going to be diving into positioning. And if you've never thought of positioning, or you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, or if you're like, oh yeah, positioning, regardless, stay tuned for the next video where we are going to dive into positioning, which is going to tackle where your business fits into the handmade marketplace and how you can intentionally choose where your business fits into the handmade marketplace. Hopefully this video has inspired you. Like I said, my main goal is just to help us become aware of truly what we are asking our products to support, and to be clear on what that is, and not just to be clear, but to be able to intentionally structure the pricing for our products so that it is actually helping us build the kind of business that we are trying to build, regardless if it's a hobby or if it's a part-time business, if it's full-time, or if we are looking to, you know, really grow, expand, and go wholesale. No matter where your business fits into that spectrum, I hope that this video inspired you to feel more confident with your pricing, where no matter where your business is on this journey. And if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. All right, everyone, take care.